Hi, everybody. It's Rod Lyman. We're going to be talking a bit about Reiki today. I'm kind of excited about this program today because Reiki program is very important to me. I came from a very stringent, strong background of religion, idealism, and a lot of ideas that Reiki may be a bad thing, but it's not. Reiki is not a belief system. Reiki is a way of life, and it has saved me in many ways. I'm just excited about it and decided to talk about it. So let's just get right into it. It's interesting that some people believe that the training is the most important component of becoming a Reiki practitioner. Others say attunements are the most important part. I believe they are equally important. Yes, one may receive attunements without formal training, but I would not suggest that. I'm not a fan of getting your Reiki certification or your Reiki attunement long distance. Hands on is the way to do it. Not saying you can't do that, but I'm just going to say that hands on is hands down one of the best ways of doing it. I know that with distance healing and distance products and distance things that Reiki, can be used in many different ways, and Reiki is important, to know that we can do distance healing and we can do distance attunements, and it's interesting. Reiki energy, as it enters the crown chakra and races through the whole body, yet without training, without the know-how to use it, how effective it all that awesome energy. How do you use that energy? How do you direct that energy? And it's got to be kind of like you see it, feel it, know it type of thing. And I think that's really important that we do that. And there's where the master teacher comes into play. You have the honor of bringing synchronicity and harmony to the union of knowledge and the attunements. And that's why having a master that does and understands this and has been practicing this and uses this and walks the walk and talks the talk, that is the most important thing right there. Because when you have a master that walks the walk and talks the talk, you know that this master is going to do whatever he can do to make sure that you understand and you get this. He may actually talk about more about some of the things that may come up and things that may have happened to you and things that may, end up happening to you when you actually are practicing and doing this Reiki stuff. I mean, it's amazing that if you can find a master to be able to bring that out of you or to make suggestions. And some of the things that are interesting is you get a client that is kind of falling apart on your table, and they're going through all these releasing and energy releasing and that. How do you handle that? And being a Reiki master teacher, that's understanding that and getting that and working with it. Finding somebody that doesn't do that, and all they do is teach, and that they're not going to have the whole concept of that. They're not going to see this as a normality in that. Take myself for instance, in that I've done this for many years and I'm excited about this. And this is something that's really important to me because I live Reiki. I walk the walk, I talk the talk, I actually work within this whole aspect of it. And I have so much fun with this because I enjoy it. And I have gotten to be able to understand and actually see how a client that is falling apart, how on the table and that is actually coming together, and how to walk them through it, how to channel the energy to help them through this. Now, anxiety and depression are two of the huge things. Anything that makes somebody emotional is real. I mean, that's just a fact. But anxiety and depression, and that when a person hits on something and that energy really deeply goes into that person that is having an anxiety or depression, that Having a master that's able just to sit there and say, I get it. I know what you mean. I know how I can help you in a sense. That's amazing to have that person. That's amazing to be able to just grasp the concept of that and make it something more than you ever thought of before. Because now what we can do is we can talk experience and we can talk about what can we do? What kind of energy will help this? What kind of a meditation helps people to do this? And that's important to know this. That's why having a master teacher around that knows the stuff, knows who he is, and knows what's going on to be able to help out and get through to people, having a walk in, that's another thing. A person walks in and says, I haven't been the same. I haven't been the same since my trauma and that. And we start talking about a walk in. Now, Reiki isn't just about hands on healing, that it also has a part of an understanding, being able to help your clients in many ways. Now, remember, energy goes wherever it needs to go to when you do Reiki, and it's there for specific reasons, and it goes to where it's needed in that. But also, when you're channeling, you're going to channel some knowledge in this. So when somebody comes up and talks about being a walk-in, they don't really understand what it means to be a walk-in. They just know they're different. That's when you can sit there and you can explain to them what a walk-in is. That's when you can change because other clients have shared with you who they are and what they've been through. Being a walk-in is not a bad thing. It's kind of exciting to actually hear about people that are walk-ins. Now, just here's a little something. A walk-in is actually an energy that comes within you after a trauma. So let's say you have a trauma, your soul gets knocked out of you, you start thinking about this, and you have an opportunity to come back as the same soul or come back as a different soul. Your contracts start changing within you and everything else. Then remember that this is instantaneously. Your soul gets knocked out of you during a trauma. Now, this can be a physical trauma, it can be emotional trauma, whatever that, but it gets knocked out of you. At that split second, you have to decide, well, your soul decides, if it wants to come back and finish out its contract, or maybe its contract's already done. That's why you had a trauma. Or do you want to start a new contract? And usually you have to understand that when you start a new contract, you never ever start a new contract with your children. Your contract is always valid with your children. You never lose that contract. And that's important to know. But that is important to understand that having a Reiki master teacher that understands this concepts, understands who we are, and understands different things about Reiki and what does it have to do with the energy of a person. We also have to acknowledge that attunements may be received without a sensei as well by containing direct source of Reiki. Now, we call Usui senseis. Well, that's the master teacher, and say is the sensei. So there's this thing that a lot of senseis, a lot of people have went and meditated and got this attunement through a download that they have received. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Receiving an attunement through a download is very important. But also, you have to remember though that how do you use this? I'll never forget a teacher trying to explain to me. It's like, she says, can you imagine handing somebody keys to a Bugatti motorcycle? And this Bugatti is this high performance motorcycle, and you give them somebody keys that has never ridden a motorcycle before. They're just going to get on there and keep crashing and crashing and crashing. Well, teaching what an attunement is and teaching what Reiki is teaching somebody how to use that motorcycle and what to do with that motorcycle so they don't give up. They just keep going forward and moving forward. This is something that's important with attunements and understanding that. This is why I think there has to be some sort of an exchange. Now, many hear about the word exchange, they think money. How much is this going to cost me? What is it really worth? All these different things in that, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be about the money. It can be about so many different things. Remember, Dr. Master Usui in that first experience of healing energy of Reiki, he offered it freely and without charge. But what he was finding was as soon as he found out that as soon as people found out it didn't cost anything, there were people lining up and everything else, and they're finding it valueless because they didn't understand it. So there was no value to it. And I'm going to tell you this as a Reiki teacher master myself, I have given many classes away for free. It's like a gift. I give somebody a gift to be in my class for free. 99% of the time, they will not show up because they have nothing invested in it. There has to be some sort of exchange. Now, Yuthui, he taught the exchange of energy does not have to be money. It can be anything, Express application and understanding the value of Reiki is like a love offering. The concept of charging a set price for healing or teaching in the Western is a Western idea promoted by um, uh, Takana. And she brought the Reiki from Japan to Hawaii in the Western world. I do agree with the Usui sensei about the importance of the energy exchange. Each practitioner and teacher should decide for themselves. Now, my choice was to ask for what I consider very valuable. And I really haven't raised my prices for my Reiki for like 8 years, and I haven't raised the price of the class for, oh my gosh, it's been at least 5 years right now. And I know I'm probably one of the cheapest ones around, but it's not because of the money. I think it's the value of having many people out there. I would really rather get quantity instead of quality. I mean, quality instead of quantity. And that's my whole part about this is that I know a massive amount of people can afford this more than a smaller amount of people. Now, remember, when talking now, I brought it to Hawaii, and that it was $10,000. $10,000. That's outrageous. So, um, another valuable exchange is your feedback. So pleasure share what you felt during your master teacher attunement. Also experience of thoughts while practicing the level 1 attunement as well. And that's part of exchange. Remember, you are enough. And that's what Reiki is all about, is really understanding and helping you understand that you are enough in many different ways. So let me just stop for a second. And if you've never had a Reiki attunement or even a Reiki session, I would suggest going out and get one. Now, a lot of people talk about what it feels like when you get a Reiki session. Now, most of my clients and that, and I can't speak for everybody, but most of my clients and that walk away saying that they feel lighter, they feel happier, there's some emotion there. They feel like they're going through a cleansing period. Some get sick and have to drink plenty of fluids in there because the releasing of toxins in their body. And then now Reiki changes you on a cellular level. And remember that is that when you're going through this process and you're processing it, you're peeling many onions at the same time during a Reiki session. And it's getting deep inside. And that's important to know is that as you're peeling these onions and you're peeling and going deep inside, it's just so amazing because it helps you release stuff. But guess what? You have to, you have to know. You just have to know. Are you ready for this? Because we either can let it go or we can stop it. And that's important to know is that this is that important. How far do you want to go with it? How far do you want to take it? How far do you want to be with this? And what is the concept when you go through this? Well, there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff that goes through this daily process, and it's very interesting to understand it and know that there's something special, when it happens. But how far and how much do you want to take of it? And that's the most important part of this is how much do you want to take from this? I every day, I kind of work on this thing as I think about this every day and I practice this mantra every day. And that for me to understand that this is the code of ethics of conduct for Reiki, and this is something to remember every day. Okay. Especially when you're working on yourself or you're working on different things, think about this and how deep you want to go with it. So there's five Reiki principles, and the Reiki principles are just for today, I will let go of anger. Yeah, let's not hold on to that. Just for today, I will let go of worry. That's another important thing to do. Stop worrying about everything. Just for today, I will give thanks for my many blessings. Always give thanks for everything you have. Just for today, I will do my work honestly. Now that comes from the heart. Do you feel what you're doing is heartfelt? Do you think it's what you're supposed to be doing? Are you doing it for the money? That's the most important thing. Don't think about doing things for money. Do it heart based. And just for today, I will be kind to my neighbors in every living thing. That's a very important concept right there is being kind to every living thing and my neighbors and the people around me and just being kind. It doesn't take much to be kind. That is for sure. I'd be happy to talk more about this, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more podcasts and a lot more stuff I'm going to be putting out about Reiki. And yes, there's a Reiki Master Teacher class that's coming up here, and I'm excited about this Master Teacher class because there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to be discussing in this Master Teacher class, and it's going to be fun. It's just something exciting to actually think about. Also, this weekend is Reiki 1 and 2, which I love teaching. It's my favorite thing in the whole world to do is teach Reiki. But there's going to be more and more classes coming out here. I actually have a 7-year cycle class that's going to be coming out. Yeah, watch it on my site, which is going to be reikirod.com. Head on over to it, reikirod.com, and check out what I have coming up. And there's some really cool other classes that you can probably buy and download just to check it out too. You know what? Like I always say, you are loved and I am blessed. You guys have a great, great day. This has been a blessing talking to you. Talk to you later. Bye bye.